What's up, everybody? In case you might have not been here in the past, this is a familiar cast of people that we bring every time that Apple calls us to Apple Park. So I'm just going to let everyone introduce themselves and maybe where they can find their work so they can promote themselves shamelessly. I'll start over here with this guy. What's your name?
The shamelessest one of all.
Most shameless.
So I'm Judner. My YouTube channel is UrAvgConsumer. Cover tech, just like everyone here.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm Krystal Lora, or Krystal Lora. I'm being bilingual.
Okay. Now we're getting ethnic.
Sauce
For the
on
bilingual
Now we're getting
viewers. You can find my name, Krystal Lora, on YouTube, Instagram, all the things.
I am Cherlynn Lowe, and I am the managing editor at Engadget. You can find myself there. I'm also on the social medias, I guess. You can find me by searching Judner's followers.
Okay, very good.
And also Krystal's, and also Brian's. There you
All
go.
of us.
My name is Brian Tong, or Brian Tong, depending on where you want to go with that. But this is
good.
Oh, thank you.
That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
I appreciate it. So, we're here to talk about obviously WWDC. We don't have, whenever we do this, we don't have any plans. We just free flow it. We bounce off each other. That's why I think it's fun and cool. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to start with you, Miss Krystal. Awesome. And let's, while she's talking, we think about what is, of all the announcements, which there's a lot. And we've been in a lot of briefings for basically 2 days straight.
Yeah.
What was maybe for you the most impactful or biggest announcement that you felt for you came out of WWDC?
I mean, wow. That's a tough one because there's a lot. I have like a list of like 10, but I'm going to start with one. Design.
Yeah.
I'm such a sucker for design,
Yeah.
and like liquid glass is just beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like it brings elements a little bit of the past. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of like that retro see-through, but in a new
Windows
way.
Vista.
Exactly.
You don't want to say it, but it's okay.
You said it.
You said it.
You guys, you can say the W word here, okay? It's okay.
I love Windows.
Yeah, no, but the design is everything for me. And obviously the jump to 26. I feel like that just makes sense. It's uniform. Everything looks like more cohesive, and yeah, I'm loving liquid glass a lot.
When you jumped on the whole thing like with Windows Vista, I think what's interesting is we've put out content and people immediately jump into them and say, that's Aero design. They were the ones to do it first. And my thing is, yes, every company has been iterative on top of each other, but I'm going to tell you, Aero didn't move like liquid glass moves, right?
Yeah,
so there's the levels of everyone is built on top of each other on all platforms. It's just kind of the way it is. But whenever we put out content, it's almost like you have the hardcore fans and the hardcore haters.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And they both want to let you know that they are here.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny that they say that, but I think like Windows Vista was like hated by so many people.
Oh, yeah.
wasn't it?
Everything's hated in its time, right? And then
Right.
looked back on with fondness.
Yeah.
Like me.
I liked Windows Vista a lot.
Like you.
Like me, yeah.
I think you're not hated right now.
We'll see.
right
we'll see.
now,
Fingers
currently.
crossed.
No.
Anyway.
We'll see
How
what
could-
happens
how
at the end of this
could anybody
podcast.
hate you?
Oh, you're so sweet. Anyway.
Yeah. What about you? What stuck out?
Definitely iPadOS.
Yes, sir.
It's
Absolutely.
we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for the iPad to become more laptop-like, and I feel like Apple has been very careful about not going too far into the laptop world so that the iPad could have its own identity, but sometimes you just got to give the people what they want. It just makes sense.
I think that is the focus, though. It's not just like giving the people what they want, but also keeping the current user base familiar, like keeping the things that they right now like. So apparently a lot of that sort of window things, they had to figure out how to make that full screen experience still stay the same for the people who love that without taking it away. And I think that might have been improved this time around in the things I saw anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I also just feel like for the iPad having that Pro device that's so powerful with the M4 chips, you're going to want pros to be able to feel comfortable using it. You don't want to have someone go out of their way to learn how to use this device just for the sake of using it. So now that it's more familiar, I think it's going to be a little bit more accessible, and we'll finally get the most out of the potential that the iPad has.
Yeah. What I think is really intriguing about it, and I'll see if I get invited next year to WWDC, but when we were looking at it, right, the windowing, this still feels like an iPad, right? It still has Mac or desktop, laptop level, functionality now, but still retains that iPad energy. And I'm looking at this 13-inch thing, and I'm just saying, you guys, to me, this is screaming for a larger iPad screen eventually, a 15-inch iPad. Or I did say to them, to their face, I said, is there any way that maybe this might be folded into future products?
Don't even.
And they were like, I'm just gonna tell you, I won't say who it was, but in the meeting, the person was like, just looked at the wood table and kind of smirked. I'm like, I was just curious. And they're like, moving right along. And they're, Apple will never talk about future product. That's not what we're here to talk about. But you look at what they do and what they're laying down and what those implications.
You're somebody fired.
I'm not getting anyone fired.
Christ.
No, I told you. That's why I don't know if I'm coming back. This might be the last time.
He got himself
They're
fired.
not coming back.
This might be the last time we do this too. But when you look at what they're doing, right?
Hey,
what
don't take us down with you.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to.
Speak for
I
yourself.
said nothing.
You could run the podcast without me.
There you go. Yeah.
But we always try to look in the tea leaves and what implications of what they're doing and how it sets them up for the future. And I just saw what they were doing. I'm like, dude, this is made for future form factors as well.
I mean, every time I look at an iPad mini, which hasn't been updated in a while, I want it to fold into a phone
mini.
form factor. Yeah, the mini folds really nicely into a Pro Max, in my opinion. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not saying they're gonna do it, and just because all those rumors have been out for years doesn't mean they're gonna do it.
And the person might not have been smirking; they might have had an itchy nose.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just saving
Or
your
they might have
skin
just
here.
been like, this guy knows nothing.
He or she knows who they are, and I won't even. I'm not even gonna, just isolate.
Yeah, sure.
Heartbeat goes through the roof.
Yeah. What'd you think of just iPadOS?
I mean, it's like I said, it's like everything feels so cohesive all throughout. I feel like you pick up an iPad now, you pick an iPhone, like it's just all kind of like merges better in my opinion. But yeah, also seeing the liquid glass. I keep mentioning, I feel like a liquid glass.
Well, I think we can talk about it more, quite honestly, right?
Yeah, but I'm so team iPad. I feel like when Final Cut for iPad came out, it just like was game changer. Final Cut camera. There's like so much, so it makes a lot more sense now. So yeah.
What do you think about just the aesthetics? This whole
Of liquid glass?
Yeah. Where are you at with it? Let's throw out maybe like a number. Where are you at with it and why?
On a scale of
10. Let's say 10.
I'm at 8, maybe 9. You know why? And this is something I learned after the keynote, and I don't want to like break it here. I might want to save it for Engadget. Anyway,
why don't you just talk about it here?
A lot of the touch elements are bigger, basically, and so it should be easier to navigate. There's a lot of the fluidity that of things getting out of the way. They should make for easier visibility. You should see more of your screen through the translucent panels. It will make your interface feel roomier, even if the actual space hasn't increased, right? Being able to see, album covers, flow behind the side panel or side navigation makes it look bigger because that's not opaque anymore. It's like having windows in your house. So that's really what I care more about. I like the aesthetic, but I think the functionality, the improvements to the actual elements will be meaningful there. I don't use iPad as much as maybe all of you do, but I do like the look of it. I think it's very modern take on Vista. But yeah, that's me. So I'm gonna complain a little bit. My work forced me to move on to MacBook as opposed to staying on my PC. So I guess thanks Apple.
The Apple reps here are just smiling.
Like, yeah.
They're just grinning ear to
There's
ear.
a quiet cheer in the background.
More.
I mean, I'm sure there's IT security reasons involved, and so they're probably cheering about that. Look, the switch was hard for me because I'm a power user on PC, so I'm like everything is coded into my fingers, right? So switching is difficult. But when I saw some of the introductions or some of the things coming to not just iPadOS but macOS, I was very excited. Like I think the Spotlight search thing is going to be really interesting. The shortcuts are so. I don't want to get too descriptive about how I feel about those things, but
I think I heard.
I think you might have heard
a little bit.
Yeah, those feel really cool. So I think a little bit of learning here and there for me might actually really improve the macOS experience with what they announced this year.
You mentioned something with like my only concern with liquid glass actually is visibility in certain things.
Yeah, that's really tricky.
Yes.
Yeah, like will it work with every color?
I think everyone's really nervous about that.
We'll see. We need more time with it, but yeah.
I think the issue is going to be dependent on like your wallpaper or what's on.
So the background, there's a lot of screen understanding of what's on your screen going on, and I'm sure everyone has seen in their demos is like depending on how dark or light the elements are, they'll flip the color scheme. I'm just curious what that in between on the spectrum is going to be like.
Not even that. It's, for me, it's the really busy. Let's say you have a really busy background.
Yep.
Once you pull down the
notification,
the notifications, the control center, you can see that it kind of bleeds in a little more than you'd like.
So we would need them to dial up the opacity a bit on the shape, probably, right? Or make it more frosted. I think
exactly. More of a
little bit more
liquid glass meets frosted glass. You know?
Now, I'm curious because this is the big selling point, right? That it's like this liquid glass, but I imagine in this beta phase, they're going to get a lot of feedback on readability and visibility with things. And I wonder if the feedback is overwhelming, how they kind of manage dialing that back a little bit. And maybe it's not, it's a small fix. Maybe it's not increasing it that much, but maybe adding a teeny bit of opacity just so that we can see. Who knows? But I'm curious to see how it plays out by the time the fall comes around.
Did you... Overall, though, do you personally like the design change, or is it
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love the Windows Vista. I love the look. And I'm sorry to keep bringing it there, but that's what I have as a reference. And that, I love the way Windows Vista looked. And I think we're going to see a lot of those. It's just going to look really clean. It's going to have like a lot of clean elements. Like the UI in the camera app, I'm sure you guys have seen it. It looks awesome. But yeah, overall, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think around the consensus here is all very positive about what we've seen. And when you talk about some of how they're going to figure out in the beta, one of the screens that I was like, okay, this definitely has to be addressed is when you go all the way to swipe all the way right to the app drawer, right where you have all the apps. And when you, it's actually really hard just to see. You pull Control Center on top of the app drawers.
It's so messy. Yeah,
it's like gnarly where you're like, ugh, but. You know, whether it means they need to make that background even blurrier or raise even the brightness of the text a little, it's going to be maybe contextual in some ways depending on what's being shown, but they're going to learn. But overall, I mean, if you're saying, yes, it is a beta, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Generally, it feels, everyone's saying when you're here versus outside of these walls, I think it is different, but to me, it's definitely more than a fresh coat of paint, right? There's some subtle things in animation wise that make it feel a little more alive, a little more organic than just a glass thing. And I would laugh during the keynote because they kept on saying the word specular highlights, right? Look at the specular. And then when I saw it in person, I turned it, I'm like, oh, like the way it's made is like they establish like a light source, and as you turn your phone with the accelerometer, that specular detail does change on the angles. So I'm just saying it's cool, y'all. Like you definitely have to play with it.
That's one thing Apple has always been really good at. That attention to detail to the animation in like the smallest places that you wouldn't even expect or really, really hone in on. They do such a good job there, and it makes everything just feel so fluid.
Sorry to interrupt. You reminded me of one effect specifically. I'm obsessed with this in Notes when you're like magnifying over. It's like that is
they call it lensing effect or whatever. There's so many words they're using for it. Yeah, that is
great.
Yeah.
A+. It's
the little things.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the camera app, and something about the redesign is also like in really close to my heart there, which is every time you take a photo, the thumbnail saves to the bottom left corner. Now instead of a little square, it's a circle, and it's the circle that the circumference matches the corners of the handset itself, and it matches in such a way that like if you like parallel lines and things that are symmetrical, that really gets at. I don't know why I keep making these noises. But.
It's okay. This is a PG-13 type podcast.
I will keep it PG-13.
Yeah, I like PG-13, especially at Apple HQ. PG-13
and then outside it's like okay.
So I asked Krystal and Judner, what about you? I mean, we might have duplicate things, but of course there's so many things to talk about. What stuck out for you?
What stuck out for me, I'll do two things. One is call screening.
Yes.
And message screening, I guess. And then the second one is the visual intelligence updates, which both to me are very familiar because before I covered Apple as in depth as I do now, I was a big Pixel phone user, and Google has had some of these or versions of these features for a very long time. And seeing them the Apple way is really interesting, right? The the call screening feature was sort of already in, I think, iOS 18, or maybe it's Apple Intelligence, where if a call comes in, you can send it to voicemail, you'll get a transcription, and then maybe you'll see what the person wants. But now it's even more, involved where like any unknown number, if you turn on an option or something, any unknown number that comes in, your phone won't even ring. It'll go through, you know, the person on the other end will hear someone saying, hey, this person wants to know what you're asking or calling for, and then they'll say something, and then if it makes sense, right, it will pass through to you. You'll see the visual interface while your phone is ringing as to why is this person calling me, a barbecue or like a scam. And like if it's BBQ, I will answer, and if it's not, you know, go away, and you can dismiss it, right? And I think that I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. I'm curious how it will handle very sophisticated spamming attempts. And then in the text messages too, right? Like, I don't know how many of you receive, or how many spam texts y'all receive on the regular.
Good Lord. It's horrible.
It's
crazy.
Hey, how are you? What? How do you fight that?
Yeah,
I know.
I like
what
the
I'm
ones
worried
where
about.
they go scam baiting or scam phishing. I forget what the subreddit's called, but they like respond to these texts and they like engage and they trick them back. It's really fun.
I'm getting like the
haven't
toll messengers
Yes.
ones where like, oh, you have a parking ticket. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Or like even when you sometimes visit a new city and somehow they know you're in a new region, you get hammered by like 8 or 9 that first day. I don't know what it is.
How? That's crazy.
I've noticed that happened. I don't know what
haven't
that thing
noticed
is
that, but
called.
yeah.
But sometimes when you go visit another location, all of a sudden, like when I come from LA to the Bay, all of a sudden, why am I getting 5 or 6 calls? So this whole management that you're talking about, right? Everyone heard call screen. When someone reads an article or headlines, like whatever, other platforms have had call screen forever, but it's this truly like this assistant that's handling a little bit like a call. Like you're having like an operator, a little admin for you. Working that through before you make the final decision. I was like, love that.
And then the screenshots, or at least the visual intelligence thing, I don't know if we're done with screening, but screening to screenshots. Visual intelligence used to be accessible only through the camera control, and then it was expanded a little bit to, I think, action button, and then now it's built into your screenshots. And like, I asked this, and I will never get a clear answer to this question, but my suspicion is that I'm sure y'all have heard of all the like trouble that Siri got into, the Siri redesign or the new intelligent Siri. Part of it was supposed to be like Siri's going to know what's on your screen and suggest actions for you. But that's not available yet, or I don't know if it will be. And yet we get this visual intelligence that's basically built into the screenshot system. And if whenever you take a screenshot, you'll see the Apple Intelligence suggestions as to what's on this page, what you can do with it, summarize, or like, you know, create a calendar event for this flyer that I'm taking a picture of or screenshotting on a website. And I think for me, I don't know about y'all, I screenshot about 700 times a day.
I do. I mean, I don't know about 700 times a day, but I do a lot.
I screenshot when my Uber is like 2 minutes late. I'm just like, all the time. And the
receipts.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, if Uber support ever tries to like fight me on this, I will show you that like I was watching.
Love it.
So that's my style of using screenshots. And for me, it will add as another step to save a screenshot, right? Because when you use the screenshot feature now on iPhone, the thumbnail appears and you can tap on it to do more with it if you want. But with the new implementation, the default comes up as, I think, the do more with it screen, as opposed to the thumbnail, which you can swipe away. So I'm a little concerned about that. I'm not, like, it's not a huge deal. I think you can turn it off. But screenshots is a huge
toggle.
Yeah, I think that will be a toggle to adopt that or not. But again, I think this is like close to my heart because of the amount of times I do screenshots, and we'll see if the rest of people out there care.
Yeah.
Now, one thing on screenshots, on that little page that pops up to do more, I don't know if you guys notice, there's like a full page section at the top.
Oh, so long screenshots basically?
There's long screenshots.
Oh
just like
my
what we-
goodness.
Oh, like if you scroll a page or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it'll do the
take
whole thing,
It'll take the
yeah.
entire
Document,
thing and create
yeah.
one screenshot.
I did not notice.
I did not
That's
notice that
so
either.
that's there.
Okay,
And
another little news
awesome.
nugget broken on
power
this show.
tip.
Yeah.
Shoot, I mean, your average consumer dropping more than average tips.
Good
I'm
one.
super excited about that because
Yeah, no, I
as
love that.
as a creator, you know,
Yes.
when you're doing like analytics and stuff, you just
Oh my gosh.
screenshot, swipe, screenshot, swipe. And I get the whole thing.
Then you have to like cut it and like make sure you know. Like
Right, exactly. It's the little things, but
Yeah.
I'm pumped for that.
that's cool.
Okay, since to try not replicate some of the things that we're going to talk about, that we've talked about highlights, I have two. One of them is going to be a little self-serving here, okay? And I think Apple did not show us enough of this, and maybe they didn't have enough to show, but tvOS. Okay, I'm going to tell you here, and people that have watched my videos, 2.5, 3 years ago, we were down in September, and I was doing some Apple Watch demo, and it just so happened the product manager or one of them from Apple TV was there. And I said, you guys, you have mics on your phones. Can we just use them like a microphone for karaoke?
Oh yeah.
I am
with
so
the Sing
glad
with
you
the
mentioned this.
Sing app. And I said, look, the platform is that the lyrics are there. Yeah, I can sing out loud, but let's get our phones involved as the mics so that I could just walk up to someone's house and just jam. They showed it to us that they're doing it.
Yes, but we haven't.
and I flipped out and I'm like, but I wanted to see it in action.
haven't seen
I actually
it
want to
yet.
see it in action. And I'm not saying that they do listen to our feedback.
They do.
But I know a 2.5, 3 year timeline is typically how long it takes to develop and kind of release and fine tune this. And I'm going to be throwing Apple TV karaoke parties or sing parties.
Brian, I'm so happy you mentioned this. I literally I was like fact checking. I was like, they did say that, right? And like,
Yeah,
I
they
feel like
did.
nobody's talking about it. I screenshot it right before, speaking of screenshots, literally right before we got in here at 4:20. I wanted to make sure that
That it
was
was
like
actually
actually,
a
and
thing.
it is. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
we got to do this.
Yes.
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
We're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
it. We're
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
so ready.
maybe we can convince Apple, like at the next event, to have a sing karaoke
my
party,
gosh.
So down.
right? And just to have a good, fun time. Because I think that's a sleeper thing. I really wanted to see them show it in action.
Yeah.
Just so it's like a fun thing, right? It's a charming thing. Apple's always in the past done some of those quirky things that just add that layer of like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so I just love the fact that now exists.
Yes.
Would you demo it for them? Because like you're a singer.
I'm
I
not
heard.
a singer.
You're a singer,
I
I
can
heard.
sing, but I can't sang.
He's in.
But I can sing. Okay.
I don't think it's meant for people who can sing. let's be honest.
It's for anyone who can sing or sang. But no, that was cool. And then the other thing from a functional standpoint, and I think it's kind of interesting how they're approaching this, the Spotlight Bar in macOS, it feels like they want, not that everyone's going to do this, but it feels like they kind of want to make us use our computers a little differently than we have before. Instead of, let's say I want to message you, instead of moving my pointer down to open, launch the Messages app, scroll through, find the contact, double tap, and then message Judner or Krystal or Cherlynn, I could just type it in Spotlight and it'll do it. And it's
Yeah.
like, so the less movement and just getting quick access, I thought that was kind of fascinating. And it takes a little bit of a brain change in how maybe we only do these for specific tasks that make sense for us. But the fact that the Spotlight Bar has that, obviously you can jump to quick apps and then thank you doing a clipboard history.
Oh my gosh.
Not
I was
just
so
history.
excited
just
for that.
it
Yes.
sounds so simple, but that matters. Cutting and pasting, photos, text. So I thought the Spotlight Bar was a little more of a sleeper feature than I once I started seeing it in action, I was like, wow, that's going to be pretty nice.
And the shortcuts and the like they're giving developers and users access to like, Apple intelligence models, and you can use it and you can feed it a prompt and repeat that action over and over. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. But do you use your Spotlight Bar a lot now?
I have in the past just to find files.
Yeah.
I've always I loved how in the past you type in like a word and then it all shows up.
I wonder if this is part of that whole like evolution of generations thing, right? Like I think most of us might identify as millennial, and I wonder if like a generation below us or two, they do it very differently, right? We saw a virtual like story a long time ago about how Gen Z just doesn't know how to use files apps anymore and don't organize their files. But I almost said a file folder name that I probably shouldn't for a PG-13 show, but like, you hide all your videos under the video folder and the photos in the photos folder. And Gen Z is like, nah, everything lives on the desktop.
Yes,
I'm going
yes.
by vibes,
Yes.
right?
You're
That's
so
what
right.
Spotlight
Me and my
search is.
sister, her desktop is like, it gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But
So, yeah,
but
that's
if
so
you
true.
use Spotlight search for that, then it doesn't matter where your stuff lives. Doesn't matter because you never have to hunt for it. You're just constantly command space bar, type whatever vibes you want and find it. And we were probably being forced to learn that, or Apple's catering to that sort of approach.
One thing I noticed that we were able to see was the shortcuts implementation in Spotlight, where you can have like basically automation come
Yes.
to your MacBook.
the files like sorting automatically. That was
Yes.
You throw
crazy.
Organized
anything-
files,
you
yeah.
throw anything on your desktop and you can put in all of these commands so that it will automatically
Yeah.
sort photos, videos, documents to their respective folders, wherever you want their destination to be.
Yes.
So if you're used to just like dumping everything on the desktop and then
Right.
have those set up and
Yeah.
automatically clean it up,
Clean it.
that's going
Yeah.
to be so clean.
And that's thanks to like the private cloud compute and
Yes.
like Apple Intelligence
Yeah.
doing its thing.
So and that it hinges on that, right? A lot of this stuff that will work really nicely if it works well hinges on the effectiveness of the private cloud compute or whatever AI model that you choose to use, because you can actually use ChatGPT in some options as well. It's called Ask model. I can't remember the actual name of it. But like, yeah, it's programming. It's like when I drag whatever file onto desktop, use private cloud compute to understand what they are, if it fits, and then write a prompt to tell the thing to like, if these fit my ceramics plant, whatever thing, throw it in the ceramics folder, and then run that action as an automation. So then it sounds really cool, but what if it's misrecognizing every ceramics file? Maybe they're like pottery is also ceramics, but no, I really wanted, ceramic shield as a glass thing, or I don't know, so I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
Exactly. We
Or
need
maybe
to
just be a little more descriptive. I don't know.
Yeah.
The funny thing we
were
Write
talking
better
about
prompts.
shortcuts.
Yeah.
When you guys were talking about how it was automated. So it was at the end of the day, and I got that presentation, and normally my brain thinks you have to hit a button to trigger that automatic thing happening. Meaning, if I put files on my desktop, I need to hit something before it sorts it. And so they explained the process, and I then said, wait, hold on. Where did you press the button? and then people laughed at me because they're like, no. And it was at the end of the day, like I was really tired.
No.
Yeah, fair.
I was really tired. I'll keep it 100 with y'all. I was holding my phone at one point and my arm was on the table. And I kind of went like this, and my phone dropped on the table.
during the briefing.
I'm sorry, Apple PR, I love y'all. It had nothing to do with you personally. I stayed here till 8:30 p.m. Okay,
It's been such a long
8:30 p.m. But so my brain was obviously a little slower, but to the point of shortcuts actually just happening in the background. I thought I had to hit a button to activate, and it's just going. I'm like, ooh. Then I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
The only thing that sucks is that that's such a cool thing, but it's definitely like a power user.
It is a power user thing, yes.
Even I don't know if I'd mess around with that, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'd take the time to do all of the different sorting commands that would be necessary to keep my desktop clean.
Yeah.
So I love that the functionality is there. And I think maybe there'll be some more general use cases than sorting into special folders.
Yeah.
But I love that it's there. It's just a matter of like knowing it's there for folks and taking the time to actually get the most out of it.
I'm with you. I honestly have shortcuts you dabble, but I feel like I'm inspired to do it more now. But how often will I? Maybe just for the simplest just file organization.
The thing about automation, right, is you kind of set it up once and you don't have to do it anymore.
True, yeah.
So maybe it's just dedicating, I don't know, a couple days a week, or not a couple days a week.
Wow, Judner, you're really committed to the shortcuts thing, bro.
A couple days to a week.
Today's
when you
my
first
shortcuts
get it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, and the thing is that I was conscious at this moment in the briefing, but I asked the rep, we know shortcuts has actually been around for years, right? And it's been hard for even users like us to actually commit to making shortcuts. I typically would check out the app, I'd get to 2 steps, and it kind of really became a flow chart, and my brain was like, I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
And so it didn't happen. But what's interesting with the way that they're doing all these automations is I feel like, and it's happened before, once other people come up with the shortcuts that we want, and then we can then just download them, right? And part of a library of shortcuts. That makes it okay, I like that. I like that. And people, I think the encouragement of how we're talking about shortcuts right now, that energy is around the shortcuts app in general. And so it just needs that little push for people to start and people already have, right? Apple's people that are shortcut users Brian, we've been doing this for years.
Your comments
templates?
Actual pre-made shortcuts.
Oh, is that is that a thing?
There's a few. Yeah.
So I'm just showing love and telling you that we will accept the fact that we are late to the game, and maybe the game started for everyone today.
I'm looking at this shortcuts gallery page, and so some of the pre-created ones, I'm not sure if they came because you downloaded an app or whatever. And Uber has one here that's called Track My Orders, for example, and then you can Shazam a song. I have some here, for example. I named one Cherlynn. I don't know what the hell. Oh, is it my Athleta? Anyway, I must have created one at some point, but it's there's a gallery here, and they have like changed my lights or whatever. I can't think of more than a few that I would use at once. Like whenever I get home, turn on my lights, do whatever, the smart home automation thing. Yes, those are good shortcuts. For me, it's the repetitive actions. For me, it's the I agree to the embargo, please send the details. That is a lot. I do that about 100 times a day, and so I found a workflow around it. And that doesn't involve shortcuts. It's great, but I can't think of much else beyond that I would automate.
Want to actually automate on.
Yeah.
Okay, team. Any other features or standouts? I know I said one, but now are there any other ones that stood out for you?
I mean, like shortcuts kind of leans into like customization. And I feel like the macOS customization is also broadened out a little bit. I love the little like changing the colors and like putting emojis on your files. Like I'm all about that stuff. So I'm gonna be like making everything like seasonally changed, maybe like pink and for summer,
I'm waiting for teal folders. I'm all for it.
I actually asked them not to bring teal to the.
Yeah, all right, Brian. All right, I'm going to come to your door when it drops.
In teal. He'll be dressed in teal. Yeah.
Like I said, I may not be back here next year, so who knows. Okay, let's talk about maybe things that we were hoping to see or a little disappointed about. Let's talk on the other side of the coin here, right? Because yes, we're here at Apple. They've created this great studio, but let's keep it real and just talk about some of this stuff. Things that maybe we were let down or hoping to see more, or where Apple could do better from WWDC.
I feel like a lot of people were waiting for an update on the things that were talked about last year.
Yes.
So,
Apple Intelligence.
Yeah,
stuff.
Apple Intelligence stuff. I think, it was a little disappointing not to get like an update or something. So now it's just kind of still in the air.
Agreed.
And we know that, like, for me, the things that were talked about last year are, I think, going to be the most useful ways of implementing AI, because it's right on your device. It's the things that you interact with on a daily basis, instead of having to go to chatgpt.com or whatever in order to access AI. I think that's the stuff that's going to change the way we really look at AI and how we use it. But we didn't get another update on it. And I think a lot of people are probably a bit disappointed by that.
I mean, I think it was interesting for me to see Craig at the start of the keynote more or less acknowledge that they needed a bit more time on that. And there was a post or something going around saying that, they didn't mention Siri a lot during this keynote. And I think that other than acknowledging they needed time to work on it, they really didn't touch on Siri. And I didn't expect much. In fact, to answer your question, Brian, I don't have a lot of things I was disappointed by, so that I was like let down by necessarily, but I was very skeptical, cautiously, of certain features. For example, to me, it's funny, the Photos app bringing back tabs. I'm just like, y'all, I like that you listen to the people who are very deeply frustrated by this change, but nobody's gonna like change. And I think Apple has operated on that sort of theory of you have to just embrace the change, get used to it, and you'll like it, right? But this one's an acknowledgement that, like, okay, some people really want their tabs back, we'll bring it back. The other place I find that people might not get used to the changes really quickly is the new camera app. Like, I know it's a good thing for most of us, but for me, like, the two main modes at the bottom of the camera app now in iOS 26 are photo and video. And for me, photo doesn't cut it. It's portrait. I use portrait all the time. So yeah, it's like, the matter of just swiping one more time or whatever. The other thing is like,
Wait, I'm sorry. I got to interrupt.
Yeah.
You swipe over to portrait?
On the new interface, yes.
Oh, you can tell what you can do.
Why don't you just like tap?
Yeah, you can also do the auto detection of your face and have it be a portrait that way. But I like to do the forced portrait on objects that might not be recognized.
Like, you like to see it in the right. You like to see a
find
photo come
Yes, I want to compose the shot. I want to
Yeah.
know it's going to be saved with the depth map information. So I'm very specific when I take food photos or stupid photos. And the other part of the camera situation is that I learned from my Gen Z cousin. I'm very up on this modern stuff, by the way. That, like, Gen Z loves to take photos with flash now, right? And so they're very quick at finding the toggle for flash. They've all learned, because I was like, how do we turn on the flash on the iOS camera app? As an Apple reporter, I was like, how do you quickly do it? My cousin was like, here, swipe up on the viewfinder and you have all the settings right there, and then tap the flash and done. I was just like, I felt old in that moment, really, and also out of touch. So the action is still more or less the same, right? Now on the new app, you swipe up, but you kind of swipe up for a bigger thing to come up and pop up, it really feels like it was built for aging eyes. So for you to see the flash buttons here, but it's a bit more of a reach for the flash button, right? It's either at the top right, or it's like you swipe up and then you see the liquid glass sort of panel, and then flashes on the top left. It's relearning. It's minor relearning. It is still relearning. And I don't know if people are going to complain if they hate it, or they're going to like, we love it.
I feel like there's always going to be.
We just said this at the top of the show. Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like at first seeing like the new camera look, I'm like, will I get used to this? But then I think back to like, back in September with like camera control. I was like, am I ever going to use it? Now it's like the only way that I launched a camera is camera control. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Literally the only way. I'm like, I'm so used to pressing that.
I'm still in the, I just tap my screen and I do it.
Oh, I'm constantly pressing this thing. So maybe it's a gender thing.
Yeah, I guess. You know what?
Oh, hold up. What?
We're just better at learning how to use it.
An amazing sample size.
Yeah. 2 out of 4 people say they use camera control.
And they both happen to
if
be
Apple
there.
uses it, more than 50% of people.
50% of people.
I swear by it. I'm like,
me too.
The action button, not so much.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. You know
I
what?
use
It's a
action button
position.
all day.
I actually use the action button more than I use the camera control button.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
For me,
That's
it's
crazy.
Yeah,
It's
I use
my
camera and not
flashlight.
action. Oh wow!
What's wrong with you
Hey,
guys?
50% of 100% of males use the action button. 100% of females use camera control.
The action button is for Shazam only.
Oh, I use it for changing profiles.
That's my action
profiles.
button. It's
Sounds.
literally-
Can I ask a follow-up question to you, ladies? You launch with camera control. Do you use the
No, I do not.
touch? Okay.
How about you?
Wait, which
With the camera control, do you use
swipe?
the swipe features? It's a little
I
hard.
do not.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like mostly my launch, like to take
Exactly.
the
It's
photo.
the launch.
And
for
also
me,
like you mentioned the Gen Z thing with the flash. I also like the 0.5 selfie on the back.
do
So
that
it's
all
like,
the time,
That is
yeah.
the way you do it with the camera.
Are you
control.
Gen Z?
No,
We're all what?
just millennial. I'm 94, 1994.
Okay.
So
Let's not tell.
We don't need to talk
that.
about. Yeah, sure.
let's go to
We're more. I'm more millennial old.
Elder millennial.
I'm millennial old. I feel like she's millennial. I'm millennial old.
Yeah. Judner's like very quiet right now. Very
I'm right in the
quiet.
middle.
I feel like he's somewhere. Yeah,
okay,
he's somewhere around there.
I'm a millennial. I'm like legit a little bit millennial.
Anything from the announcements that you were kind of like, oh, I wanted more? Or,
I'm trying to.
I will say I didn't know Craig started with that.
I also forgot. I think we were all distracted
was-
by the protester.
That's right. There was a protester to the kill, but the mention is it was said so briefly, like basically, we know that personal context is part of Siri, but we'll have more on that within the coming year. That's
Yes.
It was about a 10-second
Yes,
explanation.
exactly.
Was it right at the beginning? I was
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again,
I sense a trend here.
I know.
We don't have to go there, but yeah.
But that to me, I was hoping, of course, we see more. I think that what's interesting is when you're in the keynote and we're just absorbing so much information, we're taking notes, we're just kind of catching up.
It's life blogging.
But people that are outside, they'll hear a thing and then fixate on it for the rest of the keynote. So I saw a lot of commentary about like, no Apple Intelligence, where my brain is like, yeah, we know they're not going to focus on they talked about other Apple Intelligence features, new stuff that is intelligent, but not, like you said, the key personal context where you feel like this is really what's going to make this phone feel different. Outside of the keynote, people were just like, what? Inside, we're just like, we're trying to keep track of
like,
it.
okay,
keeping
got
up.
it. Moving
Yeah.
on.
So
Exactly.
it's a different mentality. And then when you take a step back and you look at like, some people are saying, oh, liquid glass, that's not new technology. That's not new innovation. And it depends on how you define what innovation is to you or not, right?
Our objectives are different. When we're here at the keynote, our goal is to transmit the information to
Yes.
our
Right,
audience. But
right.
them at home, they're absorbing.
digesting
All they
it,
got to
yeah.
do is absorb. We got to absorb and share.
Yeah,
so
I had my AirPods in the whole time, and I was like writing it.
Right,
You know how it
exactly.
goes.
exactly. Yeah, and any other? I mean, I don't know.
Messages.
Oh yes.
I'm very happy about some of those
The group chat
changes.
stuff?
Group chat, backgrounds.
Polls.
It's surprising though that honestly it's taken this long
Yep.
and that it was announcement worthy.
A lot of my friends were like,
let's-
didn't
yeah.
group chats already have the typing indicators? And I was like, no.
It's still huge though.
Yes.
Like, being able to request Apple Pay from, or, it was Apple Cash or whatever from
Cash, yeah.
groups. The typing indicator is huge. I like the backgrounds. The dynamic backgrounds look really
They're
awesome.
very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Well, speaking of dynamic backgrounds, one thing that surprised me how much I liked it and how widespread it would be is spatial scenes and the spatial photos that they're able to do. So basically, for once, Apple is able to take a picture that maybe you scanned, it was a picture from the 1920s, and it's going to do like computational stuff and figure out what parts of it are background, what parts of it are foreground, and give you this sort of dimensionality that's almost holographic and when you view it. So I've seen some of these in some of our demos, and they look surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I am obviously itching to try it out on photos that I have in my library to see how it will work with those non-PR pictures and how effective it'll be.
Yeah, like that has really great separation.
Exactly. They're like, oh, yeah.
I will say, if you guys mess around with that feature in Vision Pro, it does a really
It's
good
pretty
job.
sick.
Oh, wow,
I have
that's
really,
really cool.
old photos that but you basically can do that on Vision Pro already. And I've done it on really old photos, and it comes out really well. And now with the added detail that they're going to be adding with AI to give you more of the sides and all that, I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah. You touch upon a Vision Pro. I don't know. I mean, because not everyone has been able to try it. I haven't had a visionOS briefing yet. Have any of you had a visionOS briefing yet?
No.
Out of curiosity, just
I know people who have, I haven't.
okay, because the new Persona looks crazy.
yeah.
When Personas first came out,
It was so goofy.
For whatever reason, mine looked pretty good. And I don't know if Apple acquired an Asian company, so Asian faces looked hella good. Because I did a call with Marquez and Justine, and people were like, "Oh, that one," was like, "Oh, but Brian's looks really good." So I'm like, who did they get this tech from? But now Gen 2 Personas,
There's a lot
I
more
was like,
detail.
oh, that's
Very
different.
crazy
That
looking.
looked different. And so I didn't know if anyone had tried that, but I'm very curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that should be interesting. It could make FaceTime calls a little less awkward on like the Vision Pro, but it's a big jump. It's a big jump from the first gen Persona. So I'm excited to see that.
I mean, they announced a couple of other things for visionOS too. I mean, there's a
Those
lot of
widgets.
those widgets. I know those
Widgets
widgets look
are
so
cool.
good. Oh, and I mean, they did announce a compatibility with PlayStation VR controllers and the Logitech Muse. I mean, there's a lot. I think, right? That
I
they
wasn't
gloss
expecting
over.
hardware support
Same, exactly.
at all. So,
So-
that's good.
That Muse pen is built specifically for Vision Pro.
I believe
From what they
so.
made it sound
Exactly.
like that, they partnered, but essentially it's made for Vision Pro use.
Right.
But I think I'm excited to know that PlayStation VR2 controllers, like physical controllers that have 6 degrees of freedom, are compatible. But developers, it costs money to develop games on platforms that would take advantage of both, and more units, and down the road we assume more units will eventually be sold, but the user base of Vision Pro right now, is that enough to warrant a game studio to build a PlayStation VR2 compatible controller game? So that's the all the things are lined up.
Yeah.
But it comes down to companies with resources or a partnership from Apple to be like, hey, let's do this together. That's of course that's the concern, and that's why developers here. I love the partnership, but man, we've seen the game library on Vision Pro so far, and that's concerning for me.
What Apple needs to do is release the welcome tour for $10.
Like the Switch.
You got it.
Who's got
I
it?
guess nobody else here got a Switch too, huh?
I did.
Hold up. No.
Brian's-
Because is Welcome Tour like the introductory game or something?
Yeah,
or
but-
what?
Basically.
But they're showing off their new technologies in the game a little in this console. But this
it's
time they're
exactly-
costing
and, yeah.
$10 for the game.
Oh, they're charging.
It costs $10 to get that introductory game.
Was it worth it for Switch 2?
I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I didn't buy it either.
I didn't buy it either.
Wow. So yeah.
Apparently, it
I bought no games,
It
though,
costs
so-
like
I was just playing Mario Kart, like
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
costs like $90 to complete the game. I think.
That's
Wait,
because you had to
wait.
buy so many different
Wait,
controllers and accessories.
hold
Anyway,
up.
we're on a tangent.
Okay, hold up. Yeah, we can talk about
Sorry,
anything.
yeah.
So the Switch 2, which I did not buy because I'm like, oh, Mario Kart looking better. I have to wait till better games come out.
Right.
You pay $10 for this welcome tour, and as you go along to showcase different hardware, you pay more. Is that what you're saying? Like
Yeah.
the
To
total
complete
cost,
it,
the total cost.
because
of,
it's basically a technology showcase for them, right? So for you to complete all of the levels which involve more technology, you have to purchase or acquire that new technology.
Yeah.
So you need
yeah,
to
for
pay.
people who messaged me saying I was hating on not getting the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm glad I didn't, and I'm looking at you right now. Okay,
But I bought one with no games, just FYI. So
so back to WWDC 25.
I will say though, I know that the the PlayStation VR2 controllers are going to be for games, but wouldn't it be kind of interesting to see it used with the UI of Vision?
I think we were talking. Who was talking about that yesterday?
Were we talking?
I feel like
about
we
it?
had a conversation. Maybe Andrew.
Maybe.
Where he was like, "Yeah, why not like do it with like other." Like just like using
Right, yes,
that would be
I
because I feel like some people like it's not as intuitive like just like the finger motion still, and I feel like that's actually also an accessibility thing maybe could be
But
cool.
I mean, like, yeah, I guess the whole eye tracking thing is supposed to be the big deal.
Yeah.
You're not,
Yeah.
You shouldn't
And
need
it's supposed-
hardware,
Correct.
but
Correct.
still it'd be kind of
I mean, it'd
Yeah,
be
the crossover
interesting.
is cool.
I mean, it would be up to Apple to completely develop for a third-party controller that has nothing to do with their ecosystem. We'll see if they do that, guys. We know.
I said it would be cool. I didn't say
I
they should
never
do
said.
it.
I never said. True.
There was another Vision Pro thing that I thought was like cool, the movie sharing or like being able to
Watch you two headsets in the
Good,
same
you
screen.
guys,
you need
guys.
two headsets. I know, but I mean, like a lot of the tech pals have one. Like
I
feel like
love how you guys
when
are
it lowers
excited.
in price.
Yeah, I love how you guys are excited about that, but I'm just gonna
I'm
say.
not. Who are you saying? You guys.
Krystal.
She's
is.
not.
She knew what she was
Okay.
talking about.
Okay. So when I saw that, I'm sorry, I did laugh out loud because it's two.
I heard you
people-
laughing. You were like 2 seats away from me.
Damn it! I saw two people. And look, I love sharing movie experiences with people, but if I'm gonna hang out with you all, any of you all,
Yeah.
in the same room to watch a movie that costs $3,500 for each of us to have a headset, we're gonna pool our money and get a big ass
A
TV
theater, yeah.
and watch it together with surround sound. I'm not criticizing that, but it just looked really wild.
What's the
Okay,
name? What's the
but
name of
what's
that
the advantage?
series?
What's the advantage?
You guys know that
Okay.
series with the guy that gets Upload. It's very.
I love
okay,
Upload.
okay,
It's
okay,
like
okay.
you're.
Familiar.
Season 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay,
Okay.
I do like. I
I
was
wanna
kinda-
hear
I was-
your argument.
I was kind of with you when I saw it, like when they were showing it in the keynote. I was like, they're at home. They both got the headset on. I get it, but boom, if you're on a plane,
For sure.
if you're in the car, I think that
Okay.
In the car.
Okay.
like a road trip. I don't know. Road trip.
In
You're
the
in the
car.
back
Not-
seat.
not-
Okay, okay, not the driver.
Not driver.
Driver, please don't wear the Vision Pro while you're driving.
Disclaimer.
We've been there.
Okay. Maybe a ferry. Okay.
The
Fair,
thoughts
sure.
and comments here do not reflect Apple Incorporated at all.
Or any of us, just
Fine,
Judner.
the plane,
Yeah.
the plane, guys, just the plane.
The plane. Just
But
the
I do
plane.
think,
Okay.
you
The
know,
train,
if you're
the
on
train.
on the plane
Yes,
together,
yes,
watching. I
yes.
think that could be cool.
I 100% agree because the place where I take it when I do long trips, Apple Vision Pro on a plane is incredible. Now I know the price is still up, but yes, I would do that on a plane.
Right.
When I saw it in the living room, it just
other-
I couldn't take it. I
100%.
couldn't.
Well, the
do it.
other piece of this for me, it's not just movies. It's also maybe games.
Yeah, content.
And so the other types of content make sense for me. The passive viewing experience, not so much, but the interactive same
Yes.
space experience, yes.
Absolutely.
like the
Never
collaboration.
in a car.
Yeah.
But on a plane, if you're gaming in the same shared virtual space, yes,
Yes.
cool.
But
I get
again, and the
motion sick for that.
collaboration definitely the collaboration in the same room, it gets better. Yes,
Yeah.
I sign off on that.
What do you guys take on? What is your take on the Vision Pro being that place where you do work, where you have your Apple's trying to set it up. You know, you have your widgets,
Yeah,
you've got
yeah.
your windows, everything's in place. It becomes a part of your office
Right. Do you have a dedicated office space in your home?
at home. Yeah.
Okay, I do not, and it would be like a goal for me to be able to use any available air space as places I can put different windows. Right, I'm a big Windows, the window, not the software platform user. And my friend Julian over at Wired was describing how he used a different competing software AR thing. I won't mention the name here, but it's something where you can do the same thing, right? Multitasking in the virtual environment. He used it here at Apple Park and was able to have basically huge screens available. And he doesn't really have to do much to turn his head around or switch over to different screens and monitors. You just have all these floating windows in front of you, and you have your Slack on your left. And if you want to keep an eye on Slack, you're just kind of glancing over to the left. Your main CMS is open in the middle, and then your right is your, I don't know, calendar or Twitter or whatever. And it's the ideal multitasking environment. And the only thing you would have to put up with is your head strain, I think, because the eye strain is very minimal in that environment, in my opinion. I haven't done it myself, but man, that would be ideal because I don't have a table to work at.
I feel like that's a dream scenario.
Right.
But then there's still got to be more of a comfort thing because I love
Yes.
everything that the Vision Pro stands for, what it does, but for me, like I haven't found full comfort for like long
Same.
time use. And like
Same.
Yeah.
in an editing day, I'm like behind the computer for like hours and hours. I don't know about you guys, but like literally the whole day.
Yep.
So I would love that, but it's not ideal for me yet.
And you know they know that too, right? There's no secret about just wearing it for longer times. And as technology
Yeah.
gets smaller and lighter, it will get better, but we're just not there yet. That's what it comes down to, right? But I think like a lot of the stuff that they showed in visionOS and Vision Pro, like all of us agree the technology is incredible, the experience is incredible. It's just wearing it, right?
Yes.
The comfort and the longevity of that, like that's the biggest obstacle. So, you know. I think with the foundation that they've continued to lay is very good. It's just that we'll have to wait for the hardware to get there more than
There's
anything.
some really good third-party options out there that make it a lot more comfortable to.
Oh, like the head strap setups
There's just this one where you can kind of strap the whole thing to. There's like a giant pad.
I like
been
how he's
hearing
navigating the microphone. He was like,
I was like, yeah,
I'm like,
I saw it.
Judner, that looks really comfortable to put on.
In his car, no less. Just like,
Barely over it.
not over.
But yeah, it has so much potential, right? We
Yes.
know that for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I'm gonna give a little shout out. I know we didn't talk about it, and maybe because it didn't wow us, because it is such a really small screen. But
No,
shout out to
it wowed me. It wowed me.
Shout out to watchOS.
I knew where you were going.
Okay.
It didn't
let's-
wow
I literally
me,
was
but-
like, we had to do it on a moment.
I like
for that.
watchOS, yeah.
I love my watch.
Same.
I keep saying like, but I'm seriously like if I had to pick an Apple device that I need, it's probably my watch. Like I am such a, like in the Apple Fitness Plus world and
Same.
Workout Buddy I feel like it's cool. Like it's cool to me.
it's gonna be.
Depends on the voice.
It depends on
It's not really.
There's a few
It depends on long-term use for me. So my workouts are very class-oriented, but I also do walks and runs, and those are the environments you want a coach in your ear. Otherwise, you don't really. So it's going to be able to work for outdoor runs, outdoor bike rides, outdoor walks, and then also some strength trainings and like
And
a bit more basic
cycling,
hit. I think,
yeah,
and
HIIT
cycling.
too.
You're right. And so I don't know. HIIT seems like the most dicey sort of environment where you could use like how do they? They're not doing rep counting for you or weight tracking. So how are you? Well, HIIT's not so much weight, but strength training, for example, it's like go heavier, do 50-pound
Rate,
bicep curls.
more like heart rate.
Yeah,
Heart
it's
rate.
actually
Heart
push
rate,
yourself to cardio. But and when I'm doing strength training, I'm not trying to go cardio. I'm trying to stay in one zone, fat
So
burning or
with strength training, it's basically the sign on and sign out.
yeah,
You're not
yeah.
gonna
You can't do
get
the
any real-
in the
you're not
middle,
gonna get any
right?
Real feedback in the middle.
Yeah, but I guess my reaction that I was having to when you pointed out Workout Buddy is more that I've seen other places do this, right? Like Google's Pixel Watches or Fitbit or Samsung even has tried coaching features, and yeah, I don't know. I don't do well with like a voice in my ear shouting at me.
I feel like it's a thing of like, you see like there's so many like different platforms and like options for that. But since if you're in the Fitness Plus
Right.
world, maybe it's something like, oh, that's cool. And it's going to expand more and more.
Yeah,
I will say there's a lot to what you just said, right? There are so many features that have existed already.
Yeah.
But if you're in the
Yeah.
ecosystem,
Yeah.
I'm in the ecosystem. I don't care what you got because I'm
Right.
here.
Right.
And once certain features come over,
Yep.
it feels like a big deal. That's why for me, group chat, getting typing indicators.
Because you're not a third-party app
I'm
messaging.
not. I don't like. I'm sorry. I'm not in WhatsApp, and I'm not doing all of that. So I'm happy that I've got special backgrounds now. You know, it's
cute.
underwhelming to other folks, but if I'm those in the ecosystems,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, the whole thing of like taking away our joy just because we like something that's already been somewhere else is. Why are we doing that?
Oh, no.
In 2025, why are we doing that, guys?
Not to say that's not to say that's what you were doing.
I mean, as the resident watch, you're like, yes, I watch it.
love-
Any other things that stuck out for you?
For what I mean, again, it's coming back to that same theme, but like notes is in watch now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I know
Love
it's
that,
like-
love
to see
love
that.
But it is cool to see because I'm constantly like when I'm filming something and I film a lot of my stuff on iPhone now and I'm using 2 iPhones, but I want to just like use mine.
You know,
just like scroll through my notes and
Yeah.
all.
this whole time I did not think of it as just something to go through your old notes. I was just thinking like note taking on.
Oh, like
watch.
making a note.
Yeah, I was thinking
Oh
about.
no!
It's like,
For me, it's like a shopping list.
right.
Yeah,
you just
just
kind of
scroll
go through
through.
your.
Hey, Judner, notes on Apple Watch. Woo.
Yeah, no, really, that's actually kind of what happened
say
there.
that.
I was like, wait.
For watchOS, the Workout Buddy thing doesn't matter to you that you have to take your phone with you to have it work.
So I was thinking about that because I'm like thinking, oh, I already do that because I just
Okay.
like slip, in like the legging pocket, just put your
Okay.
phone on. But I can see why that's like an issue though, because like a
Right.
lot of people just go by the
I would ditch my
cellular.
phone and then
you just want
exactly.
just your watch.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's that could be tricky for some.
But the watchOS has the smart stack suggestions too now.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I like that. Like when you open your camera and then the smart stack will suggest you can also control your camera on your watch. I use that all the time.
Okay, so team, I'm glad we got watchOS some love, and because
So happy for that.
we're at our time. Time has
man.
officially expired.
Just now.
We could have done this
Whizzed
for
right
another
by.
hour.
We could have.
Easily.
But I mean, thank you all for coming out and like being a part of this.
Thanks
It's
for
always
having us.
great. Next time, sing karaoke session.
Yes.
Are we all in?
We're starting with that next time.
I don't want to scare
I
you.
want to hear what Judner sounds like when he sings. I mean, he already has a nice voice when talking.
It's just for talking. It does not translate to singing.
Wait, Krystal, your sister sings. Does that translate
she'll
to
do
her?
the podcast next time. So I'm just
No.
gonna switch for her, and she'll just
Cherlynn,
sing.
a karaoke queen here.
I don't want to intimidate anyone. So.
Oh,
Wait,
this is
Intimidate.
That's
Well,
yes.
okay, throw it down.
Okay.
Throw it down. All right, everybody. Should we just say bye to everyone in the center cam?
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Take care.
See you guys.
We'll see y'all